G'day there, it's George again. Alrighty, time for another video. You're walking along the Siem Reap river here, just had some lunch. It's right in the middle of the day, pretty hot, but the weather's definitely changed since when I first got here. It was just raining every day, really heavily and pretty humid. Now it's starting to dry off a little bit and some really good sunshine and rain every so often, but otherwise it's definitely getting into tourist season, which I'm noticing also in town now. When I'm just going through there occasionally, there's a lot more tourists and so forth around the area, so Siem Reap is definitely going to get busy. But fortunately where I live, it's out to the side and every day is pretty peaceful there. Alright, so what's this video about? Well, basically because of two conversations that I had with new expats that just arrived here in the last week or so. The stories that they told and also my own reasons for being here, there's just so many similarities, and I'm sure there's a lot of other gentlemen especially out there who are going through similar things and don't know what to do. One of my best friends, my brother from another mother, is having that same challenge, life challenge, as we all do. However, something else that I've been working on also with my brother from another mother is what I call the 3M concept. And it's something that's very applicable to the stories that I'm going to tell you about. But anyway, I'll leave it there, but enjoy the story. Catch you after it. Bye. Well, I've now been here in Cambodia for just a little over 2 months, I think 9 weeks or so. And in this past week, and actually in only about the last 4 days, I've had two amazing meetings with two new gentlemen who've literally been here for that 3 to 4 days, so absolutely new to Cambodia and to Siem Reap. And the first one I met at our GT Club coffee morning meeting on Tuesday morning, and the second gentleman actually just yesterday at the Salty Dog, two of the places that have been mentioned in my earlier videos, and I'll get to those coincidences a little bit later in the story. But yeah, this story is so relatable for me because all three of us are here post-divorce. And after long marriages also. I thought that I'd been married for a long time after 18 years when it ended. And that's been about eight or so years now since then. These other two gentlemen have taken it to another level. One of them, first I'll give a disclaimer. According to the legendary Bon Scott of AC/DC, only the names have been changed to protect the guilty. Okay, so one of these gentlemen has been married for I think 26 to 28 years, still married, but in Cambodia for a reason. The second one was married for 50 years. Yeah, that's right, you heard me, half a century, 50 years. And what's crazy coincidental is that he and I have actually lived in the same area of Brisbane in Australia. And we're trying to figure out, at what years they were, but regardless, we all knew the same places, the same shopping malls, train stations, all of those sorts of things. And via whatever circuitous route, we've probably crossed paths there in Australia at some point. And now we're crossed paths again. But how many years has that been? 40, 50 years again, half a century, because I was a teenager at that time. And never got to meet or talk, but now that many years later, half a century later, we end up talking at the same table here in Siem Reap, Cambodia. And the number of stories that I've had from other people of similar coincidences and what ifs and why now questions just coming, but it almost seems magical. I'll delve into the topic of separation and divorce a lot more in detail in future videos, but this was just to highlight that all three of us are here because we got divorced. It's not that the divorce forced to come for us to come here, but it created the opportunity for something like this to manifest. So depending on how you want to look at divorce and the reasons for it, of course, initially it can be super traumatic, and it is. It took me a good 2 years to find some kind of balance again afterwards. But it can also then be a blessing because it ended for a reason. And if it wasn't what you did, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter who did what. It just didn't work. So to hold on to something that wasn't working and was never likely to work is just a complete waste of life force. We all discover that at different times. It took me, 18 years of marriage, I guess. And these other gentlemen, much longer than me. And how many similar stories are there out there about this kind of a situation? So, I'll end that story there. There's so much more I could talk about there, but I want to protect privacy, of course, and I also want to formulate my ideas much more about this. And I'll speak to it anyway from my perspective as a, post-divorce man finding his way in the world. Okay, there's story number one. Now, on to story number two. This relates to the 3M concept that I mentioned in the introduction there when I was walking by the river. But it could also just as easily be called the reason why I make videos. But let's get on with it. And I'll start by actually connecting it to story number one, because the second gentleman who was not yet divorced but visiting Siem Reap for a reason, for 1 month, I met him yesterday, and it was at the Salty Dog. Now, what had happened for that to happen, it was I think at around 2 p.m. or something in the afternoon, maybe 3 p.m. I'd been working on my computer all morning. Then I decided to go out for a nice long walk, as I usually do, and have lunch by the river. And then all the while as I was walking to have that meal, I thought I must pop by Salty Dog on the way home, just by another route. So I haven't been there for a while. I think I should go. Maybe I'll see some new people. All right, so that's where I ended up. And when I entered the Salty Dog, there was only two gentlemen there, one at one end of the bar and one at the other. And I just went to sit down, and one of the two turned around, looked at me, and said, "I know you," or words to this effect, "I know you. You're the guy on YouTube, from YouTube." That's, I think, probably the second time since being here since I even started doing videos, that someone's actually recognized me. And twice has now been here in Siem Reap with expat guys. Anyway, so we immediately just started talking and shared a few beers and so forth. And it was just amazing to see that someone had watched my video and actually found some kind of value in it. And give them enough courage, along with other videos that they've been watching, because they've been looking at videos for, I think, a year or so. He'd been looking at videos for a year or so, researching where he could possibly go, and that included other countries as well. But here he was at the Salty Dog in Siem Reap, Cambodia, and saying, "I know you, you're the guy from that video." And then we got to talking, and I asked him about his reasons for being here and so forth. And as I mentioned in story number one, it's got to do with marriage, and I'll just leave it at that for now. But again, there was so much that we had in common and the way that we thought about things. And what was also interesting for all of the gentlemen that I've been talking to is understanding the reasons why we are here in Siem Reap, Cambodia, or why is anyone anywhere for that matter after some big life change, whether it's been, let's say, the death of a spouse or a divorce or, some other, majorly tragic kind of sort of thing or heavy thing that has literally forced a life change or changing of the environment. So to be able to have through my videos shared that, because like I've said, my purpose with my videos isn't even monetization. If that comes, fantastic at some point. But I literally want to document my life and my evolution, because I think it was Hugh Hefner had said that a life that's worth living is worth documenting. And, I think that already on its own is a noble reason. But a second reason is because I want to leave something for my daughter and my grandchildren, that if I'm not able to show them, that they're going to be able to look and know me through the videos, that what I did, who I talked to, and how I helped, or how I served, and how I got to enjoy life. And that will be something that would inspire them too. And so to be able to share that moment with this gentleman was absolutely magical. That's the reason why I do these things. To gain a connection and an understanding and learn to be more compassionate. To understand why people are where they're at. And for whatever reason, and which I'm still looking at, I am here. But what I'm also learning to do is to stop using my intellect to try and figure shit out. Not every problem can be solved with an engineering solution. You got to use the heart too, if not as the default, because you can't go wrong in the end if you do that. So, the 3M principle, and this is something I'll talk about in future videos, is about priorities. M for mission. That is a man's purpose in life, or any person's purpose in life, male or female. That must always come first, because that's your identity. And you could be stripped of all your wealth and everything, but that will never change. And that's what drives you. That's your motive. That's your reason, for being gifted this thing called life as an experience. The second M is mates, or we can call it brotherhood. And that's what I'm experiencing here. From my first meeting with Kelly in week 1 of being here, Kelly from Autumn in Asia channel on YouTube, whose videos helped me so much in my own preparation to come here, to now being his neighbour and having this morning coffee group, which I was invited to after having been here for just that 1 week and meeting Kelly at another YouTuber's sort of birthday party. And that group has grown from 3 or 4 or 5, and now there's, I think, a dozen, with these 2 new additions in the last 3 or 4 days. And what my complete sense and vibe with this whole group is that they care about each other, why they're here, and also to support each other if needed. But no one is under any obligation. And no one's in any other or better or worse position than anybody else, because we're all here for different reasons. But for all of us, there is an overlap. There is a line that connects us all, because here we are. For whatever reason, the places we were born, the ages we were, the year we were born, the life paths that we got to get here, some with kids, some without, some married, some not, some with health problems, others with whatever. But here we all are, all sitting around a coffee table or a cafe bar table, talking about life, the universe, and everything. And to me, that is just so magical and amazing. And it continues to blow my mind literally every day. And I have been here just barely over 2 months. I cannot wait. Well, I can actually. I have learned to be patient and let things unfold at their own pace, as they were meant to organically happen and manifest. So, there's your story number 2. Just a little bit more about my experiences here, and just the connecting factor there, that it was literally just 6 weeks ago I was in their position, or 8 weeks ago I was in their position. And now I feel like I can already help them in some things, just as I was helped at their point, and just as I'm still continuing to receive support from my mates as I go about enforcing my mission, because that is my number one priority. But it's probably also the reason why I'm now a single 59-year-old in Siem Reap, Cambodia. What a story this is going to be. All right, catch you later. Well, welcome back. In that second story, I mentioned or referenced the 3M concept. And the first 2 M's were mission and mates. But what was the third one? Well, that M is for maidens, also colloquially known as the ladies. And there's a very good reason why it's in third position. Many reasons, and maybe I'll get into that at some point in the future. But for now, what I'll say about it is that a man who doesn't value his mission and his mates above the ladies is destined to be badly disrespected at some point in the future. And I think any man who has felt that, particularly over a long period of time, knows just how devastating that can be to your feeling of self-worth. So I'll leave that aspect of it there. But taking the idea of disrespect, and this is now for everybody, not just men, but for women, everybody. Disrespect and love cannot live under the same roof. There's a difference between arguing and debating and analyzing and so forth, but everyone knows, at least men know, where the line is when someone's becoming disrespectful. And the last place you would want that to come from is from your closest relationships. When that happens and the relationship ends, it can be absolutely devastating for everyone concerned. And unfortunately, a lot of men end up becoming, what I have on my tattoo here, the Heikagani, which is the vanquished and ever bitter at life samurai crab, vanquished to roam the bottom of the ocean in shame, in guilt, in hopelessness, and wondering why he's there. So, whatever you do, don't become the samurai crab. All right, let's go on to the second part. Now, let me paint a picture for you about my current situation now after a little over 2 months here in Cambodia. I, by probably most sort of parameters or measures have had, or been blessed to have had, a successful life and career. I've owned cars, I've owned houses, traveled extensively, just been privileged to do a lot of things that so many in the Western world just take for granted. So at least as far as the material side of things are concerned, and I was never like a massive materialist or anything like that, but at some point, when I got everything that I thought would have been enough, it wasn't. And crazily enough, I thought it's what my spouse would have wanted, or that's what was valued, and what I thought I valued, but it certainly wasn't that at all. And so despite all of that, and I'm talking a professional career of over, I think now, 35 years in health and wellness and sports coaching. And here I am in Siem Reap, Cambodia, in this $150 a month, very nice but also very basic studio apartment. Don't even have a green screen. I've got a kind of, shitty green background, I don't know, whatever. But it doesn't matter. There are so many reasons for why I'm here now. And, and I arrived here, I had literally just my suitcase and my carry-on. And the crazy thing is, it doesn't matter. It's not even that important. I didn't come here for material reasons, so I don't really need to have much with me as it is. And certainly over the first 2 months, I've learned what's necessary, what's just desired. And already the way that I manage my finances, the food that I eat, the company that I keep, the exercise that I do, is much more, I would say, in flow than it ever has been in my whole life. And also the work that I do, editing videos and doing other things on my computer. None of it feels stressful anymore. It's just, it is what it is. I almost lose track of days. It doesn't even matter anymore what's going on there. So, but yeah, I really don't need much after I've been able to eliminate at least the attachment to things that I've previously desired. And I can still want things, but they don't have a grasp on me or control over me, if that makes sense. And so, how to describe where I am? This apartment for me is just a little place of solitude, my fortress of solitude, and a place for respite and recovery, to be able to digest. And I'm going to use a bit of a kind of like a metaphor here, or analogy. Take your pick, it's a bit of both, I think. To digest all of the sweetness that I've consumed in the world around me outside. The food, the friendliness, the compassion, the attention, the care, just the dynamics, the vibe of this place and how things function. The respect, I talked about disrespect earlier, but the respect here. It's no wonder this place is called the Kingdom of Wonder. And so I liken You know, people are interested in the hive, but it's not the hive that it's important, it's the honey inside, the actual substance of what a place is. You can make up all the excuses you like about, you know, let's say people who are critical of Cambodia will say, look at all the trash there and look at those dogs roaming around, you know, and the feral cats and, you know, the traffic and whatever complaint you want to throw in there. And yes, certainly there are certain issues like that, but that's nothing for me to say anything about. But what even overrides that clearly is the vibe of this place and the effect that it has on people. It's had an effect on me, so I'm speaking from my own personal point of view here, obviously, but I've already seen it in other people as well, like the two gentlemen that I referenced earlier in my story. They've been here for less than a week and they're already changing. And I know what it felt like to be in their position because it was literally just 2 months ago. This place has the power to transform. So it still amazes me every day more and more so. It's literally magical. However, a word of warning for my mates, my brothers. And this goes back to the 3M principle. If you don't have a mission or you're not clear exactly what your mission is, then if you still have your mates who can look out for you, then you're still going to be pretty safe because they'll help you navigate through all of the chaos and the madness. And at the very least, if they do nothing else, those who have gone through the process and learned from experience, taken their lumps, it's worth listening to them. Still make your own decisions, but listen. And I've been trying to do that more and more. Speak less, listen more. I've still got a long way to go with that. Yeah, so listen more to what people have to say. And at the very least, your mates, your brothers, are going to help you to be able to differentiate in that sweetness that's out there, what's actually good for you, the elixir, and what's toxic, the poison, because you can't always tell the difference. So there you go. There's a little bit more reference to the 3M principle, but to the expats that I've gotten to know and I've had the privilege to speak with now for the last and spend time with for the last 2 months. From here, Akbar.